to ascertain the presence of a quorum.
Councilor Baker. Councilor Campbell. Councilor Siomo. Councilor Savi George. Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Jackson. Councilor LaMartina. Councilor Linehan. Councilor McCarthy. Councilor O'Malley.
Present.
Councilor Presley. Councilor Wu.
Present.
And Councilor Zachem. Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, I'd like to ask all councilors and all guests to please rise. I will then ask Councilor O'Malley to introduce our clergy to deliver the invocation for this morning. After the invocation, please remain standing, and Councilor O'Malley will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilor?
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, colleagues and friends. I have the distinct honor today of introducing our clergy, Rabbi Barbara Penzner of Temple Hillel B'nai Torah, which is on Corey Street in West Roxbury. Rabbi Penzner has been in residence there since 1995. She received the degree of Rabbi and Master of Hebrew Letters from the Reconstructionist Rabbinical College in Philadelphia. The rabbi and her husband, Brian Rossman, who is with us as well today, who works with Healthcare for All, have worked together on many social justice issues, and they're the proud parents of 2 children, Aviva and Yona, who are both finishing up their college and graduate school careers. She's also co-chair of the New England Jewish Labor Committee, and I know many of our friends, brothers and sisters from Local 2222 are in the chamber today. Barbara Penzner was the first rabbi to offer a benediction at the State of the City. She did, many of you may remember, Mayor Menino's 19th State of the City in 2012, and she also gave wonderful remarks and a blessing at the opening of the Edward M. Kennedy Institute. Personally, I've gotten to know the rabbi a little bit. I was invited to a Purim celebration that happened to coincide with St. Patrick's Day several years ago, so it was a great event. And the temple is just a great resource in West Roxbury. It was the first site of our farmers market, which has since expanded to the Bank of America parking lot. And they've just done some wonderful things around social justice issues. She's just a tremendous Bostonian, and I'm so delighted to be able to invite her to say a couple words before today's meeting. Rabbi?
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. It's a real privilege to be here and honored to see all of the councilors today. And I'm hopeful that come Mother's Day this Sunday, as you're honoring your mothers and hopefully children are honoring their parents, I know I can count on my kids, even though they're not in Boston. I know they'll be doing that. But I hope to be seeing a number of you on Sunday morning at the Mother's Day Walk for Peace. It's an event that unites people from all neighborhoods of Boston and the suburbs in our common quest for peace on our streets. And I received an email not too long ago from Tina Cherry, who you all know is the mother of Louis D. Brown of the Louis D. Brown Institute for Peace. She's the founder of the Peace Institute. And she closed her email with these inspiring words that I want to offer to you. She said, "I want to leave you with the prayer that I pray as a reminder of what God wants from me as I seek for inner peace and the peace of our beloved Boston." And she says, "The instructions are simple yet difficult. The Lord has shown you what is good. He has told you what he requires of you. You must act with justice. You must love to show mercy, and you must be humble as you live in the sight of your God." These words are echoes from 2,700 years ago of the prophet Micah, and they still resonate in our 21st century lives. For me, they are words to live by, and I offer them to you today as a secret formula for a good life. You who are the public servants with whom the citizens of Boston have entrusted their lives and the lives of their families. Your meetings express the fervent desire of your constituents to see a city that provides for every individual the basic human needs of a safe place to live, healthy food to eat, access to health care that cures and prevents illness, schools that prepare our children to be responsible and productive contributors to our society, and good jobs that are the anchor of all of these public goods. I know that you have a daunting task. You have an audacious responsibility. And so I offer you this secret formula, the words of the prophet Micah, to fulfill your duties with justice, love, and humility. Tina Cherry warned us that these words are simple yet difficult, so I'm going to unpack them briefly for you so that you may carry them in your heart as I do. And this is how I translate it. Do justice, act with love, and walk humbly with. The first secret, walk humbly with. No one can walk humbly alone. Someone who's already made up her mind and refuses to listen is not walking with anyone. To be humble is to acknowledge our place in the universe, to make room for someone else or something to be with you. Walk humbly with your God, says Micah, or walk humbly, as we will on Sunday, with your neighbors. Walk humbly with your cherished values. Walk humbly with the teachings of your ancestors. Walk humbly with your fellow city councilors and with your constituents. Wherever you are, whether in church or temple, at home or at work, make space to hear the voices of those who call out to you and those who are too quiet to speak up. Pay attention to something other than what you have already decided in your own mind, and you will learn to walk humbly with. Secret number 2, act with love. Now, this is a secret most politicians know instinctively, the power of relationships. When we build a relationship with a constituent, with a colleague, with allies, and even with our adversaries, we create the foundation for the best civic work. We build alliances and movements. We negotiate compromises despite our disagreements. To act with love is to put love into those relationships, whether with strangers or beloveds. Cultivate an open heart. Listen attentively. Learn patience and compassion. Recognize when your anger and your fear are clouding your judgment, and you will learn to act with love. And secret number 3, do justice. Someone who listens to the pain and the fear and the struggle of another can't help but be moved to make change. It is through humbly listening and through our relationships that we build the power for change. Anyone who cares about making social change knows that you can't do it alone. You need the people to buy in, you need stakeholders, you need supporters, and together we will do justice for the people of your district and the people of Boston. These 3 callings lead to one another and are interwoven with each other. Learning to be humble leads to opening the heart. An open heart feels the pain of others, and it is in that moment of seeing another's pain that we seek to do justice. Today, you will be considering an important act of social justice to support Verizon workers who are fighting for their rights to good jobs. As you debate this and other important issues of the day, consider the human beings and the relationships that are the basis for every call for justice. Remember this secret formula: do justice, act with love, walk humbly with. That is Micah's grand vision. To do justice is to be abundantly loving. To act with love is to practice humility. And to walk humbly with is to do our part, not for personal glory, but for the good of our entire community and for the pursuit of justice. May you be grounded in these simple principles: do justice, act with love, walk humbly with, and may God bless the work of this esteemed city council so that you may bring blessing to all. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States.
Thank you very much, Councilor O'Malley, and thank you, Rabbi. Very beautiful, moving, inspirational. Proceeding to our formal business of the day. If there are no objections, the minutes of last meeting will stand approved. Seeing and hearing no objections, the minutes are approved. Oh, and Madam Clerk, would you please mark Councilor Presley as present and Councilor Baker was Councilor Baker as well. Thank you. Reports of public officers and others, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0663. The constable bonds of the following have been duly approved by the Collector Treasurer, were received and approved. Janet Balestra, James Brewer, James Burke, Helen Cameron, Russell Castagna, John DiNatale, William Doniger, Gerald Fanfan, Tyrone Grant, Keith Hershenson, Andrea Hester, Joel Hurwitz, Michael Janis, Catherine Kirby, Joseph Kirby, Frank Kravitsky, Mark Kravitsky, A. Vanessa Lacroix, Cindy Marchando, Joaquin Marchando, William McKean, Rosalinda Madence, Lawrence P. Neves, Jeffrey Profet, George Reese, Carolyn Small, Joseph Smith, Christopher Waits, Mark Weisberg, Masha Wiseman, and Mark Weisberg.
As you all remember, the council has approved the nominations or the designations of these constables in previous meetings. So this is for the constable bonds. So the chair is going to suspend the rules and take a vote to approve these bonds under the usual terms and conditions. Any questions or anyone like to speak on this matter? Okay, at this time, chair moves for suspension of the rules for docket 0663 and approval of the constable bonds under the usual terms and conditions. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0663 has been approved under the usual terms and conditions.
Public office. Do you want me to read both of them together or separate?
Both together, yes, please, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0664, notice is received from the mayor of the appointment of Michael Dennehy as Commissioner of Public Works effective April 4th, 2016. And docket number 0665, notice is received from the mayor of the appointment of Tim Sullivan as Interim Director of Governmental Relations effective April 25th, 2016.
Dockets number 0664 and 0665 will be placed on file. Reports of committees, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0473, the Committee on Planning and Development, to which was referred on March 30th, 2016, docket number 0473, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Joanne Keith as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending October 1st, 2018, submits a report recommending the appointment ought to be confirmed. Would you like me to read the second one also?
Would the chair like both? Yes, please, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. Docket number 0606, the Committee on Planning and Development, to which was referred on April 27th, 2016, docket number 0606, message in order for the confirmation of the appointment of Catherine McDonald as a member of the Zoning Commission for a term ending November 1st, 2018, submits a report recommending the appointment ought to be confirmed.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Planning and Development, Councilor Linehan.
Thank you, Madam President. We held a hearing on April 29th to take testimony and consider the names that are presented above. Jeffrey Hampton, who is the Deputy Director of Zoning at the Boston Redevelopment Authority, was in attendance. He presented his position on both of these candidates. The Zoning Commission consists of 11 zoning commissioners, is currently functioning with only 9 members. And so it was important that we move these two matters as quickly as possible. Joanne Keith will serve as the 10th member, and Catherine McDonald will be replacing a current member on the commission. the decision of the zoning commission required the approval of at least 7 commissioners going forward, so I recommend that we do this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan. At this time, Councilor Linehan moves for acceptance of the committee report. We'll do each one individually. And confirmation of docket 0473, Joanne Keith. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0473 has been confirmed. Joanne Keith confirmed as a member of the Zoning Commission. Councilor Linehan moves for acceptance of the committee report and confirmation of docket 0606, Catherine McDonald. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0606 has been confirmed, and the appointment of Catherine McDonald has been confirmed. Matters recently heard for possible action, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0505. Message and order authorizing the Environment Department to accept and expend a grant of $28,500 awarded by the National Park Service, passed through the Massachusetts Historical Commission for the FY 2016 survey and planning.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Environment and Sustainability, Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. The City of Boston has been offered a fiscal year 2016 grant of $28,500 from the National Park Service awarded through the Mass Historical Commission. If approved, the grant would fund the first phase of a multi-phase survey and planning project by the Environment Department and Landmarks Commission to identify and catalog historical architectural sites throughout Boston. Roxbury would be the primary focus of Phase 1. It's one of the earliest colonial settlements in Massachusetts. Roxbury boasts a diverse collection of structures established over 4 centuries of development. The city would benefit immensely from better acknowledgement and preservation of these locations, and this grant could help secure placement of Boston landmarks on catalogs like the National Register of Historic Places. I'd like to thank my good colleague and friend, Councilor McCarthy, for his participation at the hearing. I think this is a no-brainer. This is a small national grant that will really help us delve better into cataloging and the historical nature as we prepare for Boston's 400th birthday. I'd also like to note that at next week's council luncheon, I've invited Joe Bagley, who's the chief archaeologist for the city of Boston, to come and explain his new book. So this will dovetail nicely into supporting his very, very important efforts, and ask you all to vote affirmatively for this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. At this time, Councilor O'Malley moves for acceptance of the committee report or passage of docket 0505. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0505 has been passed.
Docket number 0525 through 0532. Message and order authorizing the Environment Department, orders for FY17 operating budget, including annual appropriation and tax order, annual appropriation for the school department, and appropriation for other post-employment benefits known as OPEB. Would you like me to read through?
Sure. We might as well read the next one, Madam Clerk. And then we'll
Docket
retire
number
both.
0534 through 0543, order for the FY17 capital budget, including loan orders and lease and purchase agreements.
So again, thank you to Councilor Siomo, Chairman of Ways and Means, for ongoing hearings. Dockets 0525 through 0532 and 0534 through 0543 will remain in the Committee on Ways and Means as we continue that process.
Docket number 0272, order accepting the provisions of Massachusetts Community Preservation Act.
Chair recognizes the Chair of Government Operations, Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you, Madam President. We held a working session Monday with the Commissioner of Assessing, Ron Rakow, who addressed specifics about this proposed surcharge. We're also joined by members of the Community Preservation Act as well as the MACDC. Commissioner Rakow stated that the CPA would generate an estimated $16 million, with 62% coming from commercial property and 38% coming from residential property. He also explained that the city is working on an application that would allow property owners to easily calculate the cost of CPA to them. There were, however, questions that arose specifically as to whether the CPA elderly exemption is necessary under the current property tax exemptions, as well as whether or not it's appropriate to list the low and moderate incomes as exempt as well. So we hope to resolve those matters quickly and to move for a vote as soon as possible. At this time, I'm asking that it remain in committee, but also would like to note it was well attended, but our colleague, kudos to City Council Matt O'Malley for stepping in. We had many things going on that day, and we can't have multiple hearings happening at the same time, and so everyone's schedules got pushed back. So Matt was kind enough to sort of step in and lead the charge throughout the working session. So I appreciate his efforts on behalf of this body. So with that, if we could just put that back in committee and hope to have this out in the next week or two.
Great,
Thank you,
thank
Madam
you, Councilor Flaherty. Docket 0272 will remain in the Committee on Government Operations.
Docket number 0441, ordinance regarding street performers in the city of Boston.
Again, Chair recognizes the Chair of Government Operations, Councilor Flaherty.
Thank you, Madam President. We held a hearing yesterday with several councilors, the Chief of the Arts and Culture, Julie Burrows, Chief Commissioner John Hanlon of Property Management, and Chief of Municipal Protective Services, Billy Joyce, as well as many street performers who participated in the discussion. It was a productive hearing that offered many perspectives and addressed concerns such as noise, public safety, accessibility, fairness, and freedom of speech. There was actually an offer to our colleague and lead sponsor to join it was the Breeze team who was going to join to break dance. So we're going to be waiting to see if that actually transpires. But nonetheless, the result of the hearing was that we need a working session to collaborate with all parties on a sensible agreement that works for residents, for visitors, and for our talented street performers. We met some great individuals yesterday who had tremendous value to our city, and their time and talents were well received yesterday. So I'd like to thank Councilor Lamontina and Councilor Linehan for introducing this issue, and for the administration for their commitment to work with this body and to also work with the street performers to come up with something that's fair and balanced, and that hopefully will result will be the fruits of a productive working session. So with that, I'd like to keep this in committee, but would defer it to the lead sponsors if they have any additional comments on that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Flaherty. Councilor Lamontina, please enlighten us about your potential new career.
Thank you, Madam President. No comment. Because I don't have to pay $20 to be in a safe zone. I'm not going to pay $20 to be in a safe zone. But anyways, thank you, Councilor Flaherty, for holding this hearing. And thank you all for coming to the hearing yesterday. Because this has been an issue that actually I've been working on probably for almost 10 years. We've been getting complaints. But it was good to get everyone in the room. And that's why we're going to have the working session with the performers, with property management, the administration, with the counselors, to come up with a plan for Sam Adams Plaza. As Councilor McCarthy mentioned, Faneuil Hall attracts more visitors in the summertime than Disney World. Everyone should have an opportunity to perform at Sam Adams Park. So I think it's reasonable if we could come up with a schedule where is notice and it might attract more people. And yesterday's what we learned, there were some artists there. This has nothing to do with artists. At the end of the day, it's about loud music. At the end of the day, it's showing respect. Right now, we have nothing. We have no ordinance. We have nothing. So if there's a complaint and the municipal police go over to Sam Adams Park to tell them to calm down, to lower the music, they go back to City Hall, they turn the music back up. So now it's just respect. And I think yesterday we heard from everybody, everyone's willing to sit down at the table, work together. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have a great place there in Sam Adams Park. So thank you all, my colleagues, for coming here yesterday and participating in the hearing. And I look forward to the working session.
Thank you, Councilor Lamontina. Councilor Linehan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise to commend the chair on an important and timely hearing. Also, the co-maker of this particular order. It was clear that this is something that needs to be addressed. And it's something that we have many other public spaces throughout the city that have regulations and schedules and amplification requirements and the like. So I'm glad that we, as the district city councilor for the Faneuil Hall, Quincy Market area, that we are bringing this forward and feel comfortable that together we'll resolve this in working session. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Linehan. Docket 0441 will remain in the Committee on Government Operations.
Docket number 0356, order for hearing to review the Boston Police Department's proposed body-worn camera pilot program.
Chair recognizes the Chair of the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice, Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So docket number 356 was referred to the committee on March 2nd. Prior to holding a hearing on this ordinance, we did 3 community meetings to talk about the issue of body cameras, one in Rosendale, one in Charlestown, and one in Dorchester. They were productive meetings, so there was a delay in holding the hearing. We held the hearing finally on this docket yesterday, but due to the wake and funerals for Officer Michael Baker and Sergeant Clancy, I told BPD and the Social Justice Task Force not to attend. So we will do a follow-up hearing on body cameras. I want to thank Councilor Jackson, Councilor Flaherty, Anissa Sabi-George, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Presley, Councilor Zachem, Councilor Matt O'Malley for coming. We will follow up, so we will leave this in committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Campbell. Docket 0356 will remain in the Committee on Public Safety and Criminal Justice. Motions, orders, and resolutions, Madam Clerk.
Docket number 0666, Councilors O'Malley and Jackson offer the following resolution in support of the striking Verizon workers.
Councilor O'Malley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Approximately 36,000 Verizon workers in the company's landline and Fios division are currently on strike across the country. You have no doubt seen these men and women walking the picket lines in front of Verizon stores throughout the Commonwealth or just a block away on Cambridge Street. These men and women are our neighbors, our family members, our friends, our constituents, and they are simply fighting for their livelihood. They are standing up for good jobs with benefits that sustain families and build communities. They are demanding economic justice, and I propose today, along with Councilor Jackson, that we stand with them. Today, I'm asking you to join as we support the striking workers. Verizon workers were forced to strike when the company demanded that they allow the increase offshoring and contracting out of services even after Verizon sent thousands of jobs overseas. Boston's residents deserve high-quality telecommunication services. They do not deserve a poorly maintained network that cannot respond effectively in an emergency because it is operated by low-skilled, underqualified replacement workers. Verizon's profits over the past 3 years topped nearly $40 billion. The top 5 executives over the same period of time were paid a staggering $230 million. This is happening as our neighbors, our constituents, our friends are working harder and harder for less and less. Good jobs and reliable telecommunication services are vital to the health and stability of every neighborhood in this city. Please join me in supporting the Verizon workers with this resolution. I will ask for suspension and passage, welcome more comments and support and people that wish to add on. At the conclusion of this council meeting today, I'll be heading down to walk along the picket line again on Cambridge Street. Invite all of you whose schedules will allow to join me. I know many of you have already been down there in other instances as well. But this is about standing up for what's right. We're joined by many of the leadership and members who are here today, as also Rich Rogers from the Greater Boston Labor Council, thank you, and other supporters, other unions. This is unfair what is happening to these people. Other cities and towns have gone on record, and I'm hopeful that Boston will be the next, but certainly not the last in a long line. And I'm hopeful that we can convince the management of Verizon to stop pushing forward with this unfair plan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. And we'll again be asking for suspension and passage, and thank my good colleague and friend, Councilor Jackson, for partnering with me on this initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Jackson, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and I'm very, very proud to stand with Councilor O'Malley on this important and relevant and timely issue. Many of us have spoken up about this issue. Now it's time for our council to stand up on this issue. I think it's absolutely critical that we not allow workers in our city to be bullied by a nearly $40 billion company. These are good jobs. They have been able to sustain families. I actually got to walk the picket line and had several folks speak about their children that are in college and how great that they're doing. And it is a great day when workers are able to pay for college with the wages that they make in a 40-hour week. We know the disparities that exist in the city of Boston, and I believe it is our job to hold the line here, to do right and stand tall with Local 2222, as well as all of the Verizon workers. There's much work to do in and around our city. Many of us have double poles in and around our city. The new fiber that will be laid out is going to need these workers. And also, we can't let them switch up on retirees. And the great part about the Verizon workers is they're not allowing individuals who no longer are working to have the rules changed after they're on a fixed income. This is the right fight. It's a timely fight, and it's really what the city of Boston is all about, closing disparities and standing up for those individuals who do right. And I would also note, Verizon has underdeveloped the infrastructure in parts of this city. I have parts of my district where individuals cannot get real phone service, and that is now going to be changed with the new FiOS, but is absolutely critical that we support the workers and equity across the board. And so I'm very happy to stand here with my friend, my older brother on the council, Councilor Matt O'Malley, and to stand up for righteousness and for the good guys. And so I hope that we can pass this today. I also will hope that we can doubt the vote and be unanimous in passage of this. Thank you so much, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilor Jackson. Councilor Flaherty, you have the floor.
Madam President, please add my name.
Madam Clerk, would you please add Councilor Flaherty's name? Please add Councilor Siomo, add Councilor LaMattina, Councilor Linehan, Councilor McCarthy, Councilor Presley. Please add the chair's name. Councilor Baker, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Councilor O'Malley and Councilor Jackson. I just want to stand up, and a lot of times when we talk about unions, it's police, fire, or construction unions. These are the people that are our coaches, our friends. They support our business within our communities. This has wider implications than just this union here. If this union here is allowed to be beat down and broken down, then we can start looking at the other utility unions, and that's thousands and thousands of jobs that sent our people like our age to colleges and allowed the middle class to happen. If this union goes down, we're going to watch more and more unions behind them go down. These are good people here, and we need to stand up for them. We won a battle in FiOS coming to Boston. Now let's stand with these workers here and make sure that these workers do that work of the FiOS when it comes to Boston. And please add my name.
Thank you, Councilor Baker. Madam Clerk, please add Councilor Baker's name. Councilor Zakem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to thank the makers of this resolution, Councilors Jackson and O'Malley, although I speak up for Councilor O'Malley, and I believe he's a little younger than Councilor Jackson on this. I know you must want to set the record straight, but in all seriousness, this is incredibly important. We sit here and we talk over and over again about the middle class here in the city of Boston and across this country being hollowed out, becoming a city where we have massive disparities in income and opportunity, and the fact that these are good middle class jobs that have really sustained our economy in this region, in the city, and across the country. We're seeing more and more attacks, I think, on unions, whether it's in the private sector or the public sector. And I think it's important, as representatives of the city of Boston, a place that continues, I believe, to strive and to try and make this city livable for everyone of all backgrounds, of all income levels, and all neighborhoods. We do need to stand up and say, when a company, not even a company in distress, a company that is making record profits, that's paying its executives, was it, I guess, an average of my math's not great, $40 million, $45 million a year for the top 5 executives is absolutely outrageous. And I can't say how strongly I would like to have my name added to join my colleagues here. I look forward, sounds like, to a unanimous passage of this resolution, but we need to do all we can to protect what good middle-class jobs we have in this city and to continue to work through education, through everything else we do here on the city council to make sure that more of these jobs are becoming in the city of Boston, not fewer. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Counselor Zachem. Madam Clerk, please add Counselor Zachem's name. Counselor Asabi George, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President, and thanks to the makers for this resolution today. I, too, stand up, and I sense a theme for the Verizon workers, and I'd appreciate my name added to this. I urge Verizon management to respect its workers and to treat them like the professionals they are in the work that they do day in and day out, and to limit the transfer of work to other regions, to protect the jobs from being moved abroad, and to preserve pension increases as we preserve our communities across the city of Boston, knowing that thousands of our friends and our neighbors are great employees for Verizon. I look forward to supporting them and to standing up with all of their workers during this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam Clerk, please add Counselor Asabi George's name. Counselor Campbell, you have the floor.
Oh, I simply want to add my name. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam Clerk, please add Counselor Campbell's name. Counselor Presley.
It's all been.
Great. At this time, anyone else like to speak? Okay. Counselor O'Malley moves for suspension of the rules and adoption of docket 0666. Counselor Jackson adds that he would like to doubt the vote. So, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll for docket 0666?
Counselor Baker. Counselor Baker, yes. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Campbell, yes. Counselor Siomo. Counselor Siomo, yes. Counselor Asabi George. Counselor Asabi George, yes. Counselor Flaherty. Counselor Flaherty, yes. Counselor Jackson. Counselor Jackson, yes. Counselor Lamatina. Counselor Lamatina, yes. Counselor Linehan. Counselor Linehan, yes. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor McCarthy, yes. Counselor O'Malley. Counselor O'Malley, yes. Counselor Presley. Counselor Presley, yes. Counselor Wu.
Yes.
Counselor Wu, yes. And Counselor Zachem. Counselor Zachem, yes. Madam President, we have a unanimous vote on docket number 0666.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Docket number 0666 has been adopted unanimously.
Sorry, Madam President. I want to make sure we recorded that properly. Docket number 0667. Counselor Wu offered the following order, proposing executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property related to physical accessibility upgrades to the Christopher Ianella Chamber.
So just want to start with process of executive session and then content. I wanted to suggest that we take a vote on whether to convene executive session today to talk about some of the physical accessibility upgrades, so meaning ramp access or other means for residents in wheelchairs or mobility impaired residents to access the council floor and other parts of the chamber. Any decision would involve costs, and it would involve potentially significant disruptions to the council floor and the layout. So I wanted to have that conversation with everyone. Process-wise, by Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Number 6, a body may convene executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. Because we would commence with a public process of a design and bid and all of that, but in order to get feedback from you all first, I would recommend executive session. We'd have to take a vote to do so, and then we will reconvene after that if the vote happens. So there's multiple seconds. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Thank you, Madam President. Counselor Baker. Counselor Baker, yes. Counselor Campbell. Counselor Campbell, yes. Counselor Siomo. Counselor Siomo, yes. Counselor Asabi George. Counselor Asabi George, yes. Counselor Flaherty. Counselor Flaherty, yes. Counselor Jackson. Counselor Jackson, yes. Counselor Lamatina. Counselor Lamatina, yes. Counselor Linehan. Counselor Linehan, yes. Counselor McCarthy. Counselor McCarthy, yes. Counselor O'Malley. Counselor O'Malley, yes. Counselor Presley. Counselor Presley, yes. Counselor Wu.
Yes.
Counselor Wu, yes. And Counselor Zachem. Counselor Zachem, yes. Madam President, we have a unanimous vote to move to executive session.
Okay, so then we will briefly adjourn or recess the meeting and go into executive session in the Curley Room. We'll reconvene afterwards.
Okay. I'll be back.
Okay, thank you, everyone. And Madam Clerk, personnel orders whenever you are ready.
Ready. Docket number 0668. Counselor Wu for Counselor Presley offered the following.
Councilor
Order.
Presley moves for suspension of the rules and passage of docket 0668. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0668 has been passed.
Docket number 0669. Counselor Wu for Counselor Presley offered
Councilor
the
Presley
following
moves for
order.
suspension and passage of docket 0669. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Docket 0669 has been passed. There are no late filed matters. Great. And there's one item to be added to the consent agenda. So any objections to adding that item? Hearing none, the matter is added, and the chair moves adoption of the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. Consent agenda is adopted. Would anyone like to pull anything from the green sheets? Great. So at this time, I'd like to ask all counselors and guests to please rise as the council prepares to adjourn today's meeting in memory of the following individuals. For Councilors Baker and Campbell, Sergeant Detective Richard Clancy. For Councilor Siomo, Paul A. Cedrone. For Councilors Flaherty and Linehan, Aaron M. McDonough. For Councilor Flaherty, Veronica J. Wilson and Kathleen O'Connell. For Councilor Lamatina, Dominic Capola, Dominic Caruso, Loretta J. Connolly, Alice Hurley, Dennis Orthmer Sr. For Councilor McCarthy, Thomas Folan. For Councilor O'Malley, Robert M. Cuddy, Barbara F. McFarland, and James J. McAdams. For all councilors, on behalf of the entire council, Boston Police Officer Michael Baker, as well as Ann M. Lynch, Congressman Lynch's mother. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. At this time, the chair moves that when the council adjourns today, it will meet again on Wednesday, May 11th at 12 noon. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it. Council is adjourned.